So PSG have offered 25 million for vegan eco-warrior extraordinaire Hector Bellerin. Should we keep him or should we sell him? Hello, I'm Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over again, which features everything to do with Arsenal. Now in this video I just really wanted to look at this bid that's coming from PSG for Hector Bellerin, £25 million, and whether or not it's going to be a good deal for the club to maybe cash in on him now, or whether we should keep him as he still has quite a lot to offer. Just before I get into that, I just want to make sure that you're all subscribing to the channel. If you enjoy what I'm doing, I'm getting a lot of views on the videos, which is great, so if you're enjoying them, please click on the subscribe button. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as well. If you like any of the previous ones that I've done, please do the same. And if you click on the bell notification, you'll get notified every time I put out a live video. There is one tomorrow night. I've got a great live show coming up, 7 o'clock, the 3rd of September, where I'm joined by Tom Watt, of course, a former EastEnders actor, and of course a big massive Arsenal fan, so I'm looking forward to that. If you've got any questions for Tom or you want to get involved in the show, please leave some comments either at the time, or you can send them through, leave them in the comments here, and I can obviously add them into the show tomorrow night. I'll say in the meantime, please click on the subscribe button just to help me to continue to grow the channel. That would be much appreciated. So Hector Bellerin, £25 million apparently is the bid from PSG for him, which I suppose seems quite low, but I guess, you know, an initial bid from anybody is probably going to be a little bit lower than you would expect to pay. So I suppose it's 25 million upwards, isn't it? Now, what you've got to bear in mind is he's only 25 years old, Hector Bellerin. He seems to have been around forever, doesn't he? He's been a regular in our team for quite a number of years now. He actually joined the club in the summer of 2011 when he was just 16. Of course, he came from Barcelona, and pretty quickly he established himself in the side, didn't he? He made his debut for the club in 2013, September 2013. It was in a League Cup tie against West Bromwich Albion, which we ended up winning on penalties. Now, he actually replaced Mikel Arteta in that game in extra time. He replaced him as a substitute. So obviously he played briefly with Arteta, didn't he, as well, for a couple of years. Hector Bellerin did go on loan to Watford briefly for 3 or 4 months in the middle of that 2013-2014 season. He only played 8 times for Watford. He was recalled back due to we had a few injuries at that particular time. But it was the following season, 2014-2015, that he really made his breakthrough. He made his Champions League debut in September 2014 against Borussia Dortmund. And it was really sort of the second half of that season when he really established himself as the first choice right back. Of course, if you remember, that was when Mathieu Debussy picked up an injury, and Hector Bellerin stepped in maybe a little bit earlier than he would have expected to. He was only 19 at the time, but he played pretty much the whole of the second half of the 2014-2015 season. He made 28 appearances that season, scored 2 goals, and he also, of course, played in the FA Cup final that year against Aston Villa. He had a good game in that game as well. Arsenal won 4-0, of course, to win the FA Cup for the 2nd year in a row. That was his first trophy. Now, over the next sort of three and a half seasons, he was a regular in the team at right back. He never hardly missed a game, and he was fairly consistent with his performances as well. Of course, his big asset was his pace, not only going forward where he was really dangerous getting down the right hand side. His delivery sometimes wasn't always great, but his pace got him into some great positions, and that did improve, I thought, with his delivery as well. But of course, defensively as well, his pace got him out of a lot of trouble. He was able to make great recovery runs, and overall he was playing well. There was a time though when he started getting a bit of stick off the crowd. I remember there was that game against Crystal Palace, which I think was maybe March 2017, wasn't it? Where the team was going through a bit of a poor run, and it was that game at Crystal Palace where we lost 3-0, and of course Hector Bellerin was on that side of the pitch where the Arsenal fans were at Selhurst Park, and he did take a little bit of stick after that game and during that game, and he was left out of the team a little bit after that. Arsene Wenger, if you remember, changed the system slightly, didn't he? And went to a sort of a 3 at the back, which took us through to the FA Cup final again that season, where we beat Chelsea in the final. Of course, Hector Bellerin did play in that final. He got his place back. He played more as a right wing back then. He was able to push forward more. Actually had a good game in that final as well. And he remained a regular in the side in Arsene Wenger's final season. He made 47 appearances that season. Difficult season, if you remember, for the club, but he was a regular in the team. And then when Unai Emery took over, He remained a regular in the team, didn't he, up until, of course, January 2019, when he suffered that terrible injury. He ruptured his ACL against Chelsea, which was in January 2019. Now, he came back, didn't he? He only really came back in the early part of the season that's just finished, the 2019-2020 season. He took a while, didn't he, to get himself back to levels to be able to play regularly, really. And he never looked the same player, did he? Lost a little bit of his pace, which of course was his biggest asset. And he struggled, didn't he, I thought, to get his form back. He had the odd good game here and there, but he just didn't look the same player, unfortunately. And whether that's just because he still hasn't fully recovered from that injury properly in terms of getting match fitness. It's different to being fit from an injury, isn't it, and actually building up match fitness from consecutive matches. And of course, having that big break of 3 months probably didn't really help him, if we're honest. He needed to maybe get some momentum going, and then the season shut down. He came back. We came back from the lockdown. I didn't think he was that great for most of the games, actually. And I say there was that Norwich game where he'd had a poor game, and of course Cedric Suarez had replaced him, new signing, and scored a goal. And I felt as though maybe that was the end for him, actually. That was the beginning of the end for him, and Cedric Suarez would just take his place, and that would be that. But that's not really what happened, is it? He kept him. Arteta kept him in the side, and I thought his performances improved going in towards the end of the season. And I thought he played well in the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City, and of course in the final as well against Chelsea. I thought he had a really good game. And of course he was instrumental, wasn't he, in setting up the winning goal with that great burst forward. Maybe looked like he'd regained a little bit of his old pace. Broke forward, didn't he? And the ball ended up falling to Pepe, who passed it to Aubameyang, who scored the winning goal. So he played a big part in that. And he played a big part in that win as well. And I thought he had a good game then. And in the Community Shield, of course, last week, I thought he had a decent game then as well. So is he maybe finally getting back to full fitness, getting back to his previous form? I mean, that would be great if he is, but maybe that's what's alerted PSG. I mean, bearing in mind, a lot of people, I think he's took a lot of criticism, Bellerin. Certainly since he's come back from injury, there's been certain people in particular that have really got on him. Now, I understand that he's got a few interests outside of football. He's got his environmental issues, hasn't he, with all these trees he was planting. He's got his fashion as well, hasn't he, which is a really big, important thing to him. And obviously it's been well publicised about him going vegan as well. So he's maybe a little bit of an eccentric character in a way, maybe. And I don't know whether that's why people find it easy to get at him. I don't know. I personally I'm only really concerned with what he does on the pitch for Arsenal. How he chooses to live his life outside of that is his business, really. And as long as he's producing performances on the pitch, as long as he's getting picked to play for Arsenal, then the rest of it for me isn't important. But it seems to be maybe important for other people, perhaps. I don't know. So, is this the right time for him to leave? I suppose that's the question, isn't it? Possibly it is. I mean, I think from Arsenal's point of view, we don't have a lot of other options at right back. We've got obviously Cedric Suarez, who unfortunately so far has been quite injury prone, and to me, as good as he's looked, maybe you don't feel at the moment as though he's going to be able to play enough games just because of his injury record. The only other sort of senior person that we've got at right back is probably Maitland-Niles. Now he's been playing more on the left side, hasn't he, in recent games towards the end of last season, and of course in the Community Shield. But of course he was Hector Bellerin's replacement at right back for a lot of the time when he was out injured. But of course there is talk of maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles moving on as well. So I think from maybe the club point of view, that they need to decide exactly what's happening in that position, in the right back position. Do we have cover, or are we going to have to buy somebody to replace Hector Bellerin, or are we going to go into the season maybe a little bit weak on that position if we sell him? And if that's the case, then we should obviously try and keep him. Or, if worst case scenario is, let's try and get as much money for him as we can. I think for 25 million is too cheap. When you think that Ben Chilwell is just moved to Chelsea for 50 million, you can't tell me he's twice as good as Hector Bellerin, because I don't believe that he is. Is he even better at all? I don't know. That's a matter of opinion, but he's certainly not twice as good as him, is he? So bearing in mind, Hector Bellerin, he's only 25 years old. He's played 213 games for Arsenal. over the last sort of 5 seasons, and that's including obviously spending pretty much a year out injured as well. So he would easily have been 250 appearances, probably, wouldn't he? If it wasn't for that injury. So he's worth more than 25 million. That's the point, isn't it? I think he is. So if we can get maybe 30 million for him or above, then you've got to look at that and think, do you know what, that'll be a good deal there. Bearing in mind the players that we want to bring into the club in midfield here, which is a really important area to strengthen. Are we going to be able to raise the funds from selling players? Yes, that's probably how we're going to do it. And if we can get 30 million or so for Hector Bellerin, that could be a good deal for the club. My personal point of view is I would like him to stay. I think he's a good player. I think he's still got a lot to offer, and I do think he's maybe about to come back into his best form again. Certainly the signs have been there towards the very end of last season and in the Community Shield. I do think he could be getting back to his best, and if he is, then he's got a lot to offer us. But maybe in these times of financial uncertainty, perhaps this could be a good time. If we can get good money for him, it could be a good time to move him on, and then we can start to rebuild the other areas of the team possibly. I do feel as though if we do sell Hector Bellerin, it's more important than ever that we do keep Ainsley Maitland-Niles, because I don't think we can sell 2 players that can play in the right back position and only leave ourselves with Cedric Suarez and the young lad in the youth team that was on the bench on the Community Shield. I think that's not going to be enough. I do think we need to keep one of them. We can probably get more money for Hector Bellerin. There's actually a firm bid on the table now, it seems, from PSG. Maybe it could be the right thing to do for the club. I don't know. Let me know what you think anyway. Do you think we should keep Hector Bellerin, or is this a good time to sell him? I would like, as I said, I would like to keep him, but if we can get good money for him, the right money for him, which is obviously more than 25 million, then it might be worth considering selling him on, as long as we do keep Maitland-Niles. So let me know what you think about that, about Hector Bellerin in general, really. He's quite a controversial character in a way, and of course I did a video, didn't I, on him recently when he was caught smoking on holiday. Well, he wasn't caught smoking, he was caught holding a cigarette, which may not even have been real, but anyway. He is a bit of a controversial figure with his maybe lifestyle outside of football. I was saying on a show last night actually about Paris could be actually a good city for him, you know, with his fashion and his lifestyle. He may be well suited to Paris, so it could be a good move for him personally as well. So maybe that's going to be a consideration, but we'll see what happens with that. I think there'll be developments on that over the next week or so, going into the Premier League season. I think that if it's going to happen, I think it will happen before the big kick-off a week on Saturday personally. So I think this could happen quite quickly, and I think if we haven't sold him perhaps by the start of the season, then we probably won't be. But let me know what you think about that. I personally would like to keep him, but if we can get the right money, let's do it. So that's that for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like and share the videos as well if you're enjoying them. And don't forget, of course, my live show, which is coming up tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock, with special guest Tom Watt. Really excited about that. I'm sure we'll have a great conversation about Arsenal and a few other things as well. He's wrote a couple of books about Arsenal as well, which I want to touch on. So if you've got any questions that you want me to put to Tom, either come along in the chat on the night or send them through. In the meantime, I'm on Twitter. I'm at GoonerRichB if you want to message me on Twitter, or send me anything on there as well. And we'll be going live about 7 o'clock tomorrow with that. But that's that for today then, all about Hector Bellerin. Should he stay or should he go? Let me know what you think. I think 30 million we should sell, but let me know what you think about that. Stay tuned to the channel for great stuff coming up as well. And that's it for today. And as always, come on you Gunners!